Welcome, everybody, to the Super Bowl edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. Yes, it is Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl 60 is about 8 hours away from kickoff. We're here. The first season of the Huddle Hub podcast. I mean, it's not officially over yet because the new league year starts in March, and that's kind of how our year goes. Which makes sense, right? We got to follow the same calendar as the NFL and college football, right? That only makes sense to follow their schedule as well. So, but this is the final game of the 2025-2026 NFL season. Super Bowl 60, 60 years of Super Bowls. And we are getting the 10th ever rematch in Super Bowl history. Now, if you look it up, it'll say 11th. Okay. But when you look at the history, and we're going to go over this, I have the history down. I'm a statistics person. So we're obviously going to go over the statistics of the rematch. But when you look at it and you look at how the rematches happen, we have two teams that face each other 3 times in Super Bowl history. And then you add on that there's been 9 other rematches or 10 other rematches. But nonetheless, this is the technical 11th rematch, but 10th rematch, realistically. Cam, how you doing on this Super Bowl Sunday?
I'm good, man. There hasn't been a lot going on, so that's why I was like late to the show. So my apologies.
No worries.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for Super Bowl 60 tonight. And yeah, like I said, to what you were saying about the rematches with, just with certain teams, and especially this team in the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, essentially you can look at it as a rematch, but for me, I don't really view it as that, just because different quarterbacks, different team shuffle. It's a rematch, but it's a renewed rivalry in a different era. So,
as far as rematch, it's rematch by organization.
Yeah,
we've seen the Seahawks and Patriots in a Super Bowl before, so it's rematch by organization. That's what it is. We've seen these two organizations play each other before, so we're going to go over the history of the rematches that have happened in the 60 or 59 Super Bowls before this one. But before we do, and get into everything else, we got to let everybody know to head over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on social media, on X at the Huddle Hub Pod, on TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod, and also on YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to follow on X and TikTok. You're going to subscribe on the YouTube, and follow right here on the Twitch channel at the Huddle Hub Podcast, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through Super Bowl 60 and beyond. So let's get into the news of things, Cam, because there's a lot of news. We haven't had a live show in at least a week and a half, give or take a week and a half. I mean, we did the watch along for the NFL honors the other night over on TikTok. It was a huge success, a great show. Had a lot of viewers come in, and hopefully we can get this show live on TikTok before we kick off 2026 or the 2026 NFL season, which is a goal. So great response from the viewers. A lot of following happened. A lot of chit chat happened. It was a very, very fun live on Thursday night for the NFL honors, which we're going to go over as well. But we got to go over the news. It was announced these past couple days that there are going to be 9 international games in 2026. London, England is going to get 3 games. Madrid, Spain, Mexico City, Mexico, and Munich, Germany. Okay. Now we do have teams set for some of these cities already. In Melbourne, Australia, the 49ers are going to play the Rams. In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the Cowboys are going to be playing. Their opponents have yet to be announced. And in Paris, France, the Saints are going to be playing. Their opponents have yet to be announced. Cam, I mean, when you look at these international games, it's good for the game. It is. It's good for the game, the reach and everything. It's becoming a worldwide phenomenon of an organization. Okay, just like baseball. I mean, baseball, you have Japan, you have Mexico, you have all different countries that baseball has a reach. Basketball is the same way. Football is now starting to get that reach. But as a fan, do you feel like if your team is playing over in one of these international games and they are representing as the home team, do you feel like that's taking away from the actual like home fans, like from a city? Like, for example, the Steelers, Pittsburgh, if the Steelers were the home team over in Mexico City, Mexico, do you feel like that's initially taking away from Pittsburgh?
I don't think so. Okay. I mean, maybe for the fans that have never experienced, football live, maybe, but I don't think so. I think it's a good. It's for number one, it's a good thing for just overall football, and just the NFL in general, because they're trying to expand their reach and trying to expand their audience. And I think any organization as big as the NFL would be trying to do that. So it just makes sense, I guess. But I don't necessarily think it's taking away. I think it's just adding newer fans that are unfamiliar with football in general. So
That's my thought too, is just thinking about the reach. I mean, if you go on, you can live stream pretty much anywhere now, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. There's a new one called Epic Studios that's out there. It's just like TikTok, but some people would say it's slightly better. A lot of places to live stream, and you see live streams from all over the world. You see people that are fans of sports from all over the world, and it's like, if you're from here, it's like, why are you a fan of this team? It's almost like you want to know why they're a fan of that team. And it's not just it's not just because of asking them, that they're from. So it's just, you generally want to know, what did this team attract you for? Like, what was the attraction for you to become a fan of this team? It could be the player. It could be, the GM, the owner, the coach. It could be anything. And it's just awesome to have that reach for this game, because next year we're going to have the International Arena Football League that starts up. You're going to have, I believe it's like 7 or 8 cities in the United States, or 7 or 8 like cities/states that are going to have a team. And then there's going to be about 7 or 8 teams from around the world. And it's going to be broken into 2 divisions. And the winners of each division will play each other in the World Championship. So it's kind of cool how that's happening. The UFL, they went from splitting 2 divisions to just having 8 teams, and the top 4 teams make the playoffs. That's how they're doing it.
Yeah.
So just the reach that the NFL is now getting, you're seeing players that are entering into the international program that are, rugby players, track and field stars that want to be football players from other countries. It's just awesome to see the reach that the NFL is getting, and it's bringing more to the game. And that's why I say this game is a year-round thing, because it never stops. It never, ever does, because they have to go to those places to bring players, coaches, representatives from those other countries into this game, because they now have that program. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, again, 9 international games. They're always fun ones to watch too. They are. They're fun ones to watch, and it's fun to see the fans over there. It's almost like professional wrestling. The fans overseas are so into what they're watching because they don't get it enough.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to see on TV. 9 games in the international program here, and 3 of them, Melbourne, Australia, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and Paris, France, are the new places that they're going to be playing. So Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Falcons, he is set to be released before the new league year from Atlanta. So he is going to become a free agent quarterback. They're going to have about $38 to $40 million in dead cap money to pay out. They're talking about the split of $22 million within the next 2 years to pay him out and get that situated. I mean, Kirk Cousins is going to become a free agent. Do you see him possibly going somewhere and becoming a starter?
I don't know about that one. Anywhere he goes, I definitely see him as a backup. He had his time in Atlanta. I think they gave him a chance at starter. And I just don't think he's the right fit. I don't think he's the guy for out there in Atlanta. So him getting released is not shocking to me. I think that was just kind of a no-brainer. But anywhere he goes, I don't care if it's New York or Tennessee or someone who I guess needs a backup. I've never really said those words, but I see him being a backup easily. I mean, I think he's a guy that you can bring in, and he can keep a team alive for a few games, but it's ultimately just going to be the same result, and it's going to go right back down to what we know Kirk Cousins is available or capable of. So yeah, no, I don't really see him as a starter anywhere he goes.
I mean, there's going to be a couple teams out there that are going to need quarterback, because it just came out today that the Dolphins and Cardinals are both looking for trade partners for Tua and Kyler Murray. So the Dolphins and the Cardinals are going to be looking for a quarterback. As of right now, the Raiders, as it's being predicted, Fernando Mendoza is going to get drafted to them first overall. But technically right now they need a quarterback. So there's going to be a couple teams out there that need quarterbacks to start week 1 in 2026. So I mean, Kirk Cousins, is there a possibility it could happen? Yeah, but I think you're right on that. He has kind of proven that he's now in that backup role and more of a mentorship than he is a starter. So, speaking of other quarterbacks, Mac Jones, San Francisco 49ers quarterback, well, backup quarterback. There's been a lot of trade rumors about him the past couple days. He's actually embracing the trade rumors. He said that he wants to become a starter in 2026. He feels like he's earned that role after what he's done in San Francisco this year, keeping their head above water while Brock Purdy was recovering from his injury. So Mac Jones, maybe he goes to one of these teams like the Dolphins or the Cardinals and becomes a starter. Who knows? So we'll have to see what happens there. AJ Brown, he's in the news. Wide receiver of the Eagles. They interviewed him about the coaching changes in Philadelphia. Now, as you know, there was a lot of talk between the fans about, trade AJ Brown. He's nothing but a cancer to the locker room, all this stuff. Well, he's excited about the changes that have happened in Philadelphia, and he's looking forward to the 2026 season. So I don't think AJ Brown's going anywhere. I don't think so. And I said it. Don't jump and trade him. Don't. When the season ended against the 49ers back in wildcard weekend, I said it. I said, give it a week or two. Let this stuff blow over. Let them make the changes they need to make. And then let's go from there. Give him time. Does an interview and said he's excited about the beginning of the year. Look at that. All it takes is a break. It was a rough year. It was a very rough year for a lot of players. And AJ Brown's on that list. We don't need to be jumping and trading right away. Just because he's speaking up, who cares? Who cares? The Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be up for sale this offseason. They're going to be worth about $7 to $8 billion, Cam. So Seattle, in Super Bowl 60, I mean, do you think that the value might go up if they raise the Lombardi Trophy tonight?
Absolutely. Like I said, there's a lot of eyes on this game. So their stock's definitely going to go up for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they're saying that it's about $7 to $8 billion worth for the sale. I mean, and regardless on whether they raise the Lombardi Trophy tonight or not, the team is still going to be up for sale. They're still going to be out there in the market. So we'll have to see what ownership comes in. I mean, we've seen teams before bring in new ownership and turn things around for the better. I don't think Seattle needs ownership to come in and tear things apart to make things better. They're about to play in the biggest game of the year in about 8 hours. So I think they got things right on the field and in the office and everything. The ownership just needs to purchase and buy and let things, play out in 2026 because they're in a pretty good position right now. James Pierce Jr., defensive end of the Falcons. He was arrested last night after fleeing police and crashing his car. He's also being charged for 2 counts of aggravated battery and domestic dispute with WNBA player Rakai Jackson. I mean, Cam, some of these young players getting in trouble early in their careers for stuff like this and other things, do you ever think that some of these young players are ever going to learn to just stay the fuck out of trouble?
No, because when that money hits, I just think they don't know how to act. They're not used to that kind of thing. I know, they have, in recent memory, they have like NIL contracts now in college, but not everybody has those. So you get drafted and it's like, oh my God, I'm making all this money and I'm seeing all these zeros for the first time in my life. It's just what it is. They are just, I can't find a better word for unprepared, but they're just not used to what it is to be in the limelight and making that kind of money. So it's, I want, as bad as this may sound, it's almost natural. It's almost second nature that they're going to do that unless they have some kind of, I don't know, just a better background, I guess, or a mentorship that's like, hey kid, don't go crazy because you can ruin this in a blink of an eye. You can ruin this in an instant, and you have too much talent and too much writing on this to go out here and just do something stupid, So that's another problem I think that we don't really talk about in the world of sports is just when these young men get into the pros and they don't know how to handle just all of this fame and fortune and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's almost natural, as sad as that may sound. But not all of them do that. Some of them, I think, just naturally just have great backing, a great family support, a great mentorship, and that's what is important, and that's what's needed. So
Yeah.
we can stop having something like this happen. It's with young players who have bright futures ahead of them. So
Yeah. I mean, you would think that some of these guys that just came into the league this year would learn. Look at what happened with players a year or two ago with I mean, there's a couple players that went out and did some stupid stuff and got in trouble and are still facing those issues. You would think, oh, you know what? I'm going to keep my head on straight and not go out and do stupid stuff. This happened in Miami, Florida, I believe, this incident. Party city, where things happen. So I mean, just keep your head on straight. You're in the NFL. You're part of the 1%.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go and do something that could screw that up for you?
Yeah.
Because it should always be in the back of your mind. If you're an NFL player, it should always be in the back of your mind that there's always a guy trying to take your spot.
Absolutely. And I don't even think it's always the intention of like, I'm purposely going to go out here and screw something up for myself.
No, it could be accidental.
In the moment, the problem, another big problem is they're not thinking about that in the moment.
No.
They just want to party. They just want to have fun. And then things just delve into chaos and things like this happen. So they really have to stop and think, okay, how is this going to affect me tomorrow?
Yeah.
So
try and put yourself in the situations to where you don't have to, face the law and deal with stuff like that. Like, if you see yourself getting into a situation, just walk away. Just walk away for a minute too. Cool your head off, go back, assess the situation. And if it's not getting any better, then just leave. Get out of there. Again, because you're part of that 1% that is fortunate enough to be in this league. Don't screw it up for yourself. Like, and think of your mentorship, the kids that look up to you, that want to be like you, that want to play like you. You do stupid stuff like this, they're going to look and think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because kids are very gullible nowadays. Like oh my gosh, man. I mean, I have a 19, 20-year-old daughter. She still believes certain things. Like, I'm like, come on, think a little bit here. Jeez. The Dallas Cowboys, they are expected to franchise tag wide receiver George Pickens. This just came out this morning. Smart move for Dallas. I mean, George Pickens, he was a crucial part of that offense and pretty good addition to that Dallas offense. I mean, this could be I'm not even going to say this could be. This is a smart move on Dallas to franchise tag him, to give another year to situate a contract for him, because he is one hell of a wide receiver. He is. So, smart move on Dallas, you thinking?
I think so. I mean, again, I said this earlier in the season that maybe this was a better fit for him than Pittsburgh, because, like I said, in Pittsburgh he was kind of in a space by himself, essentially, being a young player, not really having anybody that's like his peer necessarily, and he has that in CeeDee Lamb, and they have meshed really well, and been that 1-2 punch in that receiver room for Dallas. So yeah, that's definitely I think the smart move. Now I think the key for him is just consistency. Don't fall off just because now you've been paid and they're franchise tagging you. Let's see the consistency over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, the franchise tag money, as far as information, didn't come out, but I'm thinking it's along the lines of like at least $30 million. So, I mean, he's going to be looking at a nice chunk of change for a season until he gets an actual contract, because I believe Dallas contracts him. I mean, Jerry Jones, we've seen Jerry Jones make some stupid moves. Micah Parsons, just saying. But it would be stupid to let him walk in 2027. It would be. I think so. So, Cam, a lot of happening in the coaching carousel, but all of our head coaching spots are filled. John Harbaugh for the New York Giants, Kevin Stefanski with the Atlanta Falcons, Jeff Hafley is Miami Dolphins, Robert Saleh is now the Tennessee Titans, Joe Brady, he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, now he is the head coach. Mike McCarthy is now the head coach out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Todd Monken is the head coach for the Cleveland Browns. Jesse Minter, the head coach for the Baltimore Ravens. Mike LaFleur, he's now the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. And Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. He is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders after tonight. So all the head coaching slots are filled, and the league is full now. So that is set for the 2026 season. But some other coaching / GM moves have been made over the past couple days since we were last live here on the show. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the GM for the Vikings, he was fired. I believe, after the conference championship games. So the Vikings are looking to go a different direction as far as their GM. I mean, we've seen the Vikings struggle this season. One game they win, next game they lose. They finished 9-8. Some would say that them or the Lions should have made the playoffs over the Packers because the Packers had that tie. But Minnesota going to be bringing in a new GM. I mean, could this steer the direction of them possibly looking at a new quarterback too? Because J.J. McCarthy really has not panned out too well in his first two seasons. So do you think the Vikings might go that direction, seeing that they're bringing in a new GM?
I mean, I could see them giving J.J. McCarthy a couple of games in 2026. If that does not pan out, I do think they're going to make a shift at quarterback. They can't afford to have another season like they did with such high promise. And just kind of fall short of that and not even make the playoffs. So especially from the season they had before this. So yeah, no, I think every team is always looking at progression and not regression. And in terms of season and making the playoffs is that first step in getting to the Super Bowl. So yeah, I think with a new GM coming in, that is a very strong possibility. It might even happen sooner than that, than making a change of quarterback for sure.
We'll have to definitely keep an eye on that because there has been talks about the Vikings hitting that reset button, especially after watching Sam Darnold, a guy who they let walk, make it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So in other moves, Raheem Morris, the former Falcons head coach, he is now the 49ers defensive coordinator because Robert Saleh is now the head coach out in Tennessee. Frank Reich, former Panthers and Colts head coach, he is now the offensive coordinator for the Jets. Matt Nagy, he's the former Chiefs offensive coordinator. He's now the offensive coordinator out for the Giants. Cliff Kingsbury, former offensive coordinator for the Commanders. He is now the Rams offensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator of the Browns. He has made the decision to resign. I want to talk about this one for a second because this kind of surprised me. And I've been saying this for the past couple weeks now, that the Cleveland Browns, when you look at the Cleveland Browns and their defense is ready to go. You got Myles Garrett on the front lines on the defense, Carson Schwarzenegger, who's the defensive rookie of the year, linebacker on the second level, and they got some pretty good defensive backs on that defense. I mean, that defense is ready to go. It's all about them making the moves and getting that offense right. Do you think that this was a bad decision to let Jim Schwartz? I mean, obviously it's Jim Schwartz's decision to resign. But do you think that there's anything that the Browns could have done to try and keep him around so that defense can keep rolling the way they've been? Because they were pretty good defense this year.
I mean, ultimately, no. I mean, much like with Mike Tomlin. I mean, if it's their decision to step down or resign, there's not really much you can do. I mean, shovel more money their way, but even then, I don't know if that's enough to sway their opinion or sway their decision and to step down or whatever. But I think they got enough great players, as you said, enough great defensive players. Again, Myles Garrett, who has been an absolute menace to any team that they have played on that front line, that I think they'll be fine. I really do think they'll be okay. It's just, again, it's just that the power of that defense right now. It's really stacked right now, and it's a force to be reckoned with right now, I think, in the AFC and in the NFL in general. So I think they'll be fine, but I really don't think there's anything they could have done to sway an opinion of someone who genuinely just wants to step down. It's ultimately their decision.
I mean, I'm thinking we do see Jim Schwartz still in the league somewhere. I don't know if he goes anywhere else in 2026. Maybe he takes a year off, comes back in 2027. Maybe wait for the head coaching carousel to open up again because come mid-season, there's going to be teams that say, you're fired.
Yep.
So maybe he does what Mike McCarthy did. Mike McCarthy sat for a year or two after getting fired from Dallas. and now he's the Pittsburgh head coach. So maybe that's what Jim Schwartz does, because I don't see Jim Schwartz just calling it a day. I don't. I still see him being a coach in this league at some point. Whether it's in 2026, he finds somewhere to go in 2026. I don't know how many other coaching positions. I don't believe any coaching positions are opened anymore. I believe everything's filled now. I'll have to double check and look at that. But I do see him definitely back in 2027, whether it's a head coach or a defensive coordinator. I do see it. I do. So Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, he has decided to resign after 13 seasons with Philadelphia. Now, I mean, Philadelphia, obviously one of the best offensive lines in the league these past couple years. And now Jeff Stoutland deciding to step down. They're going to be looking for a new offensive line coach. So, I mean, it's kind of that curiosity of who's going to come in and take over that offensive line, because we've seen what this offensive line can do. You know, the phenomenal things they've been able to do the past couple seasons. I mean, 2 trips to the Super Bowl in the past 3 years and raising 1 Lombardi trophy. So, and the offensive line was a huge part of that. So, you know, see what happens. Jeff Stoutland, he's out in Philadelphia after 13 seasons. Last bit of news, Cam. Commissioner Roger Goodell, he did an interview. He did a very lengthy interview this past week during Super Bowl week. And he did say one thing, that there is an 18-game season in the future. And what that would consist of is 18 games being played, regular season games by each team, with 2 bye weeks, which means we would have 20 weeks of football. So each team would have 2 bye weeks. I mean, again, Cam, I mean, this game is an all year round thing. It is. So do you think it's fitting for them to expand it another game with each team having 2 bye weeks and then the playoff system being the way it is?
I mean, me personally, I feel like football is too long as it is now. But if they are hell bent on adding another week, yeah, I'm surprised they don't have another bye week now. Again, like I said, I think football is just long enough as it is now. So yeah, no, if they're going to do that, yeah, definitely add another bye week. I think that just makes sense. I mean, we always talk about the safety thing with football, and we always talk about, you know, just the surplus amount of injuries that happen throughout the season or whatever. You know, like I said, the longer it gets, you are going to be looking at a Super Bowl with just backups because everyone's going to be hurt. So a second bye week is probably desperately needed if we're adding another week of football. So.
I mean, hey, if Denver would have won 2 weeks ago, that's what we would have been looking at, a backup quarterback going out there playing a Super Bowl. You know, seeing it a couple years ago with Philadelphia against New England, Nick Foles. I mean, when Carson Wentz went down, Nick Foles rallied along and got the Eagles their first one. You know, so we've seen backup quarterbacks in the Super Bowl before, but it's all about the backup quarterback being a successful one. And there's very few that have had, you know, the resume of being a starter before, having the playing time, and then being the backup. You know, you can look at a few quarterbacks in this league, like a Kirk Cousins, who has starting time, who can be a viable backup as a mentor. You know, if Matthew Stafford would ever get to that position, which I don't see that happening. I mean, we don't know what Matthew Stafford's, you know, his status is. I mean, we don't know if he's coming back next year or not. But
he said he'll see you next year when he won the award.
Yeah.
I can only assume that means he's coming back.
Yeah, that's the assumption then. Yeah. But I mean, quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, those guys, they're in the league that are a little older right now, you know, being put in that backup mentorship role. You know, you don't see a lot of it nowadays. You don't. You see a lot of younger quarterbacks who are drafted in the 6th round, undrafted free agents, all that stuff. So, you know, I think the days of quarterbacks that are backups now that were starters back in the day are long gone. And now, you know, it's the next man up mentality. That's what it is. So, but that's it for all the news. That's it. I mean, again, it's been a week and a half, 2 weeks. Not a lot of news because of the fact that, you know, we had the Pro Bowl last week, Super Bowl Sunday today, you know. So, but Cam, the NFL Honors Awards, spoke about those. It was on Thursday. And the winners of some of the awards are as followed. Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the Rams. He is the league MVP in 2025. The offensive player of the year was Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver of the Seahawks. Defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, edge rusher of the Browns. Offensive rookie of the year, Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver from the Panthers. Defensive rookie of the year, Carson Schwarzenegger, linebacker of the Browns. Coach of the year, Mike Vrabel, head coach of the Patriots. Assistant coach of the year was Josh McDaniel, offensive coordinator of the Patriots. Comeback player of the year and salute to service winner was Christian McCaffrey, running back of the 49ers. The Bears win in overtime against the Packers was the moment of the year. Joe Thuney, offensive lineman of the Bears, is the protector of the year. And missing one. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award went to linebacker of the Commanders, Bobby Wagner. Cam, I mean, your thoughts on league MVP, man? I mean, Matthew Stafford, was it a foregone conclusion? Do you think somebody else could have possibly deserved this award, or do you think it's fitting that Matthew Stafford finally gets league MVP?
Oh no, it's fitting. It's very fitting. He was my top pick for weeks now.
Same
to win. I mean, the 46 total touchdowns is insane. I mean, dude's balling out harder than he was his first 3 years in the league. So that's insane. He's only getting better. It seems like the deeper he gets into his career. So no, it was a foregone conclusion for a while, I think. The guy was just an absolute monster. And if I'm anybody in that league, I'm frightened to see what he does next year. So yeah, he's just that good. I think it's fitting for him to win that award.
Yeah, I was pulling for Matthew Stafford too. I mean, a lot of people were saying, Drake May deserved it because of what he did this year, and, Christian McCaffrey because of his all-purpose yards and stuff like that. But I mean, you look at Matthew Stafford, 10 years that he threw for 4,000 yards. This year was arguably his highest touchdown count,
yep,
and lowest interception rating. I think it was his best completion percentage rating in his career. Like the guy did a lot of great things this season. Even though he didn't get the Rams to playing today, he still got pretty far. He got to the conference title game.
Yeah.
So Matthew Stafford, it's fitting. He finally gets league MVP. And, Drake, and I'll say this right now, there was a lot of Patriots fans in the chat on Thursday night that were like, oh, Drake May. And then they were like, oh, this is bull crap. It should have been Drake May. And I was saying, think of this way. Drake May is young. He has a lot of opportunity ahead of him to win this award. Let Matthew Stafford enjoy this. Because the guy, you don't know when the guy's going to retire.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 minute there's talks about it happening. The next minute he's coming back for another year. You don't know when it's happening. So let him enjoy this one. Because this is probably the only one he's going to get now. Drake May has plenty of opportunities to win at league MVP in these next 10 years. The guy's probably going to win 2 league MVPs in the next 10 years. Who knows? But the opportunity is there for him. Let Matthew Stafford enjoy this one. The Protector of the Year award, this was the first time that a offensive lineman got an award. This was great. I love this. They talked about this at the beginning of the season, during the offseason, that there was going to be an award for the offensive lineman. They didn't know what they were going to call it. I think Protector of the Year award is a pretty fitting name for it. It is. And who better than Joe Thuney to win this award for the Bears? I mean, the Bears had a great season this year. That offensive line, I mean, went from a trash offensive line to one of the best offensive lines in football this year. I mean, hats off to them. Your thoughts on the Protector of the Year award? Do you think this is something that they should keep going, or do you think this, was a not so good idea?
I definitely think it's a good thing. Giving out more unique awards, I think, is something that can be different for the NFL honors. So definitely keep it going. We always talk about, the fact that, there probably should be like different awards for different players who don't get highlighted as much. So I think this is the opportunity. And it's definitely a good thing for this particular award show, I think. So definitely keep it going.
Yeah. I like it. I liked it the moment they announced it. And I agree. I think they need to come up with one for kickers.
Kicker of the year.
Keep it simple. Kicker of the year. Why not? Okay. Like, I mean, why not? You have kickers out there doing phenomenal things. I mean, the kicker out in Jacksonville, he arguably won the award this year if they would have had it.
For sure. Absolutely.
But I'm just saying there's kickers out there that are kicking field goals from, half from midfield and further now.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Bring a kicker award in. So we'll have to see if they do that. The Hall of Fame class was announced at the Honors Awards this year. And here is the class of 2026. Starting with Drew Brees, quarterback, played for the San Diego Chargers from 2001 to 2005, and then went to the Saints in 2006, and he was there till 2020. Running back Roger Craig, he was with the 49ers from 1983 to 1990, played for the Raiders in 91 in Los Angeles, and the Minnesota Vikings in 92 and 93. Wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald played for the Arizona Cardinals from 2004 to 2020. Linebacker Luke Kuechly played for the Carolina Panthers from 2012 to 2019. And then Adam Vinatieri, the kicker, played for the Patriots from 96 to 2005. And then the Indianapolis Colts from 2006 to 2019. Cam, I mean, a very, very fitting Hall of Fame class. I mean, the nominees were stacked this year as far as who would have gotten in. And we're going to talk more about the voting in a moment. But I mean, good class for this year. Yeah.
I think it's a great class.
It's
pretty stacked. Yeah.
It is. Roger Craig finally getting in. I mean, it's been a long time coming for Roger Craig. It has been. And for him to finally get in is a great thing. And fitting for Adam Vinatieri. Again, that kicker award, they need to bring one in. They need to.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's a guy that would have won a bunch of kicker awards back in the day.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, all the records he broke, one league MVP, I believe twice, fitting for him to get in. Larry Fitzgerald, one team for 16 seasons. That's unheard of nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
So for him to last that long in one city, I mean, had one opportunity to raise the Lombardi Trophy, and it didn't happen, losing to Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. But Larry Fitzgerald did some phenomenal things in his career. So and Luke Kuechly, I mean, a short career, 7 years, but still was a hell of a linebacker. So this is a very fitting class for 2026. And I am super excited to hear I believe the ceremony is in August. And I'm excited to hear the speeches. I am. I'm excited to. So, Cam, the 2027 first-time ballots have come out for the Hall of Fame. So here are the candidates so far, or the candidates that are going to be on the ballot for the first time ever in 2027. Rob Gronkowski, tight end. We know who Rob Gronkowski is. Ben Roethlisberger, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Adrian Peterson, running back of the Vikings and Cardinals, the Saints. Richard Sherman, defensive back. He played for Seattle, San Francisco. Cam Newton, quarterback known for Carolina Panthers, New England Patriots. Antonio Brown, wide receiver. He was a Steeler, a Buck. Alex Mack, he was a center. Andrew Whitworth, offensive lineman for the Rams. Eric Weddle, he was a safety, I believe, for the Dolphins. I believe he was. Dolphins or Ravens, one of those two teams. Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle. Le'Veon Bell, running back. He played for the Jets and Steelers. Joe Hayden, defensive back. Malcolm Jenkins, defensive back. Brandon Brooks, offensive lineman, Philadelphia Eagles. He's more known for. Dante Hightower, linebacker, and Ryan Kerrigan, defensive line, more known for the Commanders. So those are the first-time ballot entries for the 2027 class for the Hall of Fame. Cam, a lot of talks have been coming out about the voting that happened for the Hall of Fame this year, and two in particular that got snubbed. Bill Belichick, former head coach of the New England Patriots, and Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots. Now, a lot of people are saying that, it has come out that the reason why they got snubbed was because of the scandals, because of Deflategate, because of Spygate, and there was a big uproar about this. Now, at the end of the day, when you really think about it, these two guys are going to get into the Hall of Fame. It's just when. Do you feel like they should have been first ballot Hall of Famers, or do you also think that it really doesn't matter because they're going to get in?
Well, I'm kind of split on that
Okay.
because I do believe they should be first ballot Hall of Famers, but I also think it doesn't matter because I think they're eventually going to get it in. They can't be denied for too much longer. That doesn't even make sense. And I feel like for them to sit there and say the whole Spygate thing or whatever, bro, let that go. That was so long ago. Like you're acting like that just happened last week or something. Like let that go. I feel like they came up with that excuse just so they don't look as bad for not having them be in the Hall of Fame. That's what I think. But I don't know. That's just my opinion on that. But no, like I said, it was initially head scratching for me when I first heard about it. I'm like, how's he not in the Hall? How's Bill Belichick not? How's Robert Kraft not considered? This doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
But like I said again, the voting thing, it's kind of over my head at this point. But again, I still believe in the notion that they will eventually get in, like because it can't be denied. They had one hell of a run. And they just, I mean, they ran roughshod over the NFL at their at their height with the Patriots. So yeah, no, it's eventually going to happen. And this wrong will be righted eventually. So you just gotta wait for it.
Well, the reports did come out that the voting panel is going to be heavily looked at for the 2027 class moving forward, because some changes do need to be made. And I think it's only fitting because if some of the voters are doing this just for personal vendetta,
that's a problem.
That's a real problem. Yeah. It is a real problem because this is a very high honor. I mean, you work all your life to get to this point. Yeah. You work all your life. I mean, you hear the stories, and this is why I watch documentaries. This is why I'm a documentary head, especially when it comes to sports, because, there's documentaries on Netflix of high school football players that start working at the age of 5 to get to this point.
Right.
That's a life commitment. That's a life commitment. And a lot of people, even nowadays, do not have the attention span to do that. They don't. So to see a documentary that was made in 2024 about high school kids that are focusing and have been focused on football since they're 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. So I mean, you work all your life to get to this point, the Hall of Fame. And then they get snubbed regardless. Like, they're going to get in at some point. But I'm with you. I'm on a 50-50. I think they should have been first ballots. I think they do. I think they should have. They definitely deserve it. They raised 6 Lombardi trophies together. Of course they deserve it. Tom Brady, when he gets on there, first ballot guy. And I think it's fitting to get this thing fixed now before he gets on the ballot.
Yeah.
I think it's good that they're fixing it now because of Rob Gronkowski being on the ballot for next year. Because he was part of those teams.
Yeah.
And you don't think, Rob, if these voters stay that snub these two, you think they won't do it to Rob Gronkowski? You think they won't do it to Tom Brady?
Yeah.
They will. They will. And they need to fix it now. That's a definite. So, but that's that for the Hall of Fame. Cam, we're getting into Super Bowl 60. I mean, today is the day. And, through the playoffs, you really don't get to see too many records and milestones that can be broken and made and everything. Well, I dug pretty deep into the depths of the internet, and I found some records and milestones that can be broken today on Super Bowl 60. Okay. First one, Mike Vrabel, head coach of the New England Patriots. He could become the 5th person to win a Super Bowl as a player and a coach. And it will be the first time somebody has done it with the same organization that they played for. So Mike Vrabel can make a record or milestone today. So that's pretty awesome to hear. Drake May, his quarterback, he could be the youngest starting quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Today he is 23 years old and 23 years and 162 days old. The youngest player to ever win a Super Bowl as a quarterback was Ben Roethlisberger back at Super Bowl 40. He was 23 years and 340 days old. So if Drake May wins, he breaks Ben Roethlisberger's record as far as being the youngest quarterback. But if he loses, then Ben Roethlisberger holds that record. So Sam Darnold, quarterback of the Seahawks. Now, this isn't so much of like a record or milestone, but this is more so of a deeming kind of thing. We know how Sam Darnold's career has been. Drafted to the Jets, had a pretty not so good start to his career. Went to the Carolina Panthers. He was pretty much, as people would say, sent to, the quarterback grave in a sense. But then he became the backup out in San Francisco. He's even said in an interview that Brock Purdy helped him rejuvenate. And then he goes to Minnesota and does what he does, and now he's in Seattle. They're saying that this would be the greatest turnaround in an NFL career. Do you think so?
For Sam Darnold?
In history, do you think it would be the greatest turnaround in an NFL career? Yeah, for Sam Darnold. Yeah.
I would say so. I say so. I mean, I don't think anybody even expected him to make it this far ever. No. So probably so.
Nope.
Probably so.
I said at the beginning of the year that I felt like he wasn't going to do what he did in Minnesota and Seattle. And now look, proved me wrong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you think of anybody else's career, nobody else had a turnaround like this.
Not to my knowledge.
No. And I can't think of any. So I guess it would be deemed that Sam Darnold has the greatest career turnaround in history.
Yeah.
It's pretty agreeable.
Yeah.
So Mike Macdonald, the head coach of the Seahawks, he would have become the third coach in history to lead a top-ranked scoring defense back in 2023 as a defensive coordinator, then lead a top-ranked scoring defense in 2025 as a head coach, and win a Super Bowl as a head coach. It's pretty remarkable. Only two other coaches have done that. He could become the third. Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver of the Seahawks. He would become the fourth player to lead in receiving yards and win a Super Bowl. He would be the first to do it before the age of 24. So Jackson Smith-Njigba can cap off the season that he had this year by raising the Lombardi tonight. John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks. Now, this is a pretty remarkable one. I will say this because the last time the Seahawks won a Super Bowl was back at Super Bowl 48. They went out, destroyed the Denver Broncos, and then they went to Super Bowl 49 and lost to the Patriots. We all know how that ended, especially because of one guy that they decided not to give the ball to.
I'm here so I won't get fined.
Exactly. Yeah. So all because of that, they decided not to give the ball to the guy. Well, John Schneider, he's been the GM in Seattle for a very, very long time. He could become the first GM to lead a team to a Super Bowl 2 times with 2 different head coaches and 2 different completely rosters. That's crazy. Like, the roster has not been the same. Nobody is part of the roster now that has been part of the last Super Bowl team. And a different head coach, obviously, because, Mike Macdonald's now the head coach, and they had Pete Carroll back then. Different starting quarterback, everything. So John Schneider could become the first GM to do this. But he can also join the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 2015 Denver Broncos, and the 2009 Saints as the only teams in the last 20 years to win a Super Bowl with a free agent quarterback that they did not draft. Buccaneers did it. Tom Brady, free agent quarterback. Yep. Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning, and then the Saints, Drew Brees. Look at that sea of quarterbacks that Sam Darnold's about to join.
Yeah.
If he raises the Lombardi Trophy tonight.
And no one saw it coming either.
No. So I think that's why when you go back to thinking about that milestone of greatest career turnaround ever. Yeah. Look at the company he's keeping if he wins the Lombardi tonight. So yeah, I think Sam Darnold is, I think so.
Even if he doesn't win, it's still just the fact that he got here.
Still a great turnaround. Yeah. I can agree with that. I can. And the New England Patriots, they could become the first team to win 7 Super Bowls. Damn. The Patriots.
Yes.
And just think, they didn't win one Super Bowl before the year 2000.
Yeah.
They've won 7 Super Bowls in 25 years. That's insane. Because you got to think, this is 60 Super Bowls that we're at now.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think, 26 years ago, we were at what? Super Bowl 36? Were we at 36? You got to think, we're at 60, 50, 40. Yeah, we were at Super Bowl 34. Super Bowl 34 in the year 2000. And that was the Rams-Titans, 1 yard. Kevin Dyson stopped. Just think of that, man. And then a year later, the Patriots and the Patriots go out and win the Super Bowl. Or 2 years later, I mean, because the Ravens did it the year after the Rams did it. So that's nuts, man. Seven Super Bowls in the last 25 years. That's nuts. And they did it all in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So we talk about the we talked about the rematching. Okay, so there have been, again, technically, in all technicality in NFL history, 11 rematches, right? Well, when you look at this thing, I look at it as 10 because 2 teams faced each other not once, not twice, but 3 times in the Super Bowl. Okay. Now, the Patriots and Seahawks, the last time they met in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 49. Patriots ended up winning 28-24. This is their second time meeting in the Super Bowl. Here are the other matchups that have been repeats, Cam. The Chiefs and 49ers, they met at Super Bowl 54, where the Chiefs won 31-20, and then Super Bowl 58, where the Chiefs won 25-22 in overtime. Okay. The Chiefs and Eagles, Super Bowl 57, where the Chiefs won 38-35, and then the Eagles won Super Bowl 59, 40-22. Patriots and Rams, they met at Super Bowl 36, first Patriots Super Bowl, 20-17 win. Adam Vinatieri kicks the field goal, wins the game. Tom Brady raises his first Lombardi trophy. And then Super Bowl 53, where people said it was the most boring Super Bowl in history, 13-3 final. Okay. The Patriots and Eagles met in 2 Super Bowls. Super Bowl 39, where the Patriots won 24-21, and then the Eagles raised their first Lombardi trophy at Super Bowl 52, 41-33 was the final. Okay. The Patriots and Giants. Patriots, man, I'm telling you. Jeez. Patriots and Giants. They met at Super Bowl 42, where the Giants won 17-14, then again at Super Bowl 46, where the Giants won 21-17. So the Giants, getting the better part of the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Yes, Jamie, the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. Yes. The Bills and Cowboys, they've met twice in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 27 and Super Bowl 28, and the Cowboys rocked both games. In Super Bowl 27, they won 52-17, and in Super Bowl 28, 30-13. Okay. The Bengals and 49ers met in Super Bowl 16, where the 49ers won 26-21. And then in Super Bowl 23, they won 20-16. The Dolphins and Commanders, they weren't called the Commanders at the time, but the Dolphins and Commanders met in Super Bowl 7, where the Dolphins won 14-7. And then in Super Bowl 17, the Commanders won 27-17. And then the last one, the Steelers and Cowboys met 3 times in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 10, Steelers won 21-17. Super Bowl 13, where the Steelers won 35-31. And then Super Bowl 30, where the Cowboys won 27-17. That's the history of the rematches. So this is the 10th time that teams are rematching in the Super Bowl. There's always something when it comes to the Super Bowl. You know that? Always just like something. That's why they turn it into an all-day event, because there's always some type of deep dive and everything like that. And, man.
It's a football extravaganza.
It is. It is the best day in sports, I think. The way I look at it is the best day in sports. You know why, Cam? Because people would say that The NBA Finals is a rich tradition, which, I mean, every finals is. The NBA Finals, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, the World Series and everything. But the thing that football does that separates from the others is there's no series. It's one and done. You go in, you win, you raise the Lombardi. You lose, you go home. You don't got a game 2. You don't got a game 3. You don't have another chance to win and tie a series up. No. You got one shot, 4 quarters. And if you force an overtime, that's it. That's all you got. That's why I think football, out of all the championships, is the best championship in sports. I get it, hockey, it's on ice skates, all that stuff, heavier hitting and stuff like that. I get all that. I do, and no disrespect to hockey. I like watching hockey once in a while. I even go to hockey games, to the AHL team that we have, because in my city, we have the Flyers AHL team here. So I can go literally 10 minutes from my house and go watch them for $20. The Daytona 500 is another one. Yeah, race car. Daytona 500 is a pretty good one. You got the college football championship, March Madness, stuff like that. But there's just something different about the Super Bowl. There is. I mean, I think it's the biggest day in sports. And maybe that's me just being unbiased because I'm a football fan, number 1, baseball, number 2. But I still think the Super Bowl is the best. I do. There's just something about the Super Bowl that makes it the best. So, but the spectacle of the Super Bowl is a whole other level. It is. It is. I mean, because you turn your TV on at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're getting coverage everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, right now, I'm not saying go and watch them now. Wait until we get off the air, please. But ESPN is holding their pregame stuff right now until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Or turn them on while you're watching us. Be fair. So, but yeah. Super Bowl history, Cam. Between these two teams, again, the New England Patriots, they are 6-5. This is their 11th appearance in the Super Bowl. They lost Super Bowl 20 to the Bears 46-10, lost Super Bowl 31 to the Packers 35-21. They beat the Rams in Super Bowl 36 20-17. They beat the Panthers in Super Bowl 38 32-29. They beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 39 24-21. They lost to the Giants in Super Bowl 42 and 46, as we said earlier. They beat the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49 28-24. They beat the Falcons in the infamous 28-3 game back in Super Bowl 51, 34-28 in overtime. Lost to the Eagles in Super Bowl 52 and beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53. They are 6-5, 11 appearances in the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks, this is going to be their 4th appearance. This is the Patriots' 12th appearance. This is the Seahawks' 4th appearance in the Super Bowl. They are 1-2. They lost to the Steelers in Super Bowl 40, 21-10. Beat the Broncos in Super Bowl 48, 43-8. And then they lost to the Patriots 28-24 in Super Bowl 49. Cam, honorary coin toss captains tonight are Lynn Swann, Joe Montana, and Peyton Manning. Those are going to be the honorary coin toss captains for tonight. So, Cam, before we get in to talking about this game tonight, which is going to be our last segment of the day, you as a football fan, what does the Super Bowl mean to you?
I'm like you, man. I mean, it's everything. Honestly, it's the big games, the biggest game probably in sports. As you said, like I said, one and done. This is win or go home, raise the Lombardi or don't. So it's very important. It's very exciting and can be very nerve-wracking if your team is playing in the Super Bowl as well. So it's just very exciting. It's always just a big spectacle. It's pro sports, WrestleMania essentially. It's just a very exciting thing. And I look forward to it every year, no matter who's playing essentially. But I always look forward to it, and I always look for just a good game. I mean, regardless of who wins. So yeah.
I mean, some of the players in this game today are walking into their 2nd, 3rd, 4th Super Bowl, whatever. I mean, the Seahawks, they have 4 players on their team that have played in the Super Bowl before. Cooper Kupp, Ernest Jones, Josh Joby, Cam Akers. Patriots have 5 players: Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Mac Hollins, Austin Cooper, Christian Ellis. Some of these guys have been here before. Some of these guys haven't. This is a whole new level for these guys. I mean, this game is a different entity than what you play in the regular season, what you play in the playoffs. Some people would say that the conference title games are bigger than the Super Bowl, which I don't think so. I don't. No. Like, I get it. That's the game that gets you in. But this is the game. This is it. With that being said, Cam, let's get into it. Super Bowl 60. The Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots will take place tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Kickoff from Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. You can watch it on NBC and Peacock. So let's get into it. Cam, we got the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks heading out to Super Bowl 60 to take on the AFC champion New England Patriots. Cam, what do you got on the Seahawks Patriots in Super Bowl 60?
I think the Patriots are at a severe disadvantage going up against the Seattle Seahawks defense. They have just been absolutely unstoppable, it seems like. And I honestly think that's going to be a huge problem for Drake May. I think they're going to get to him. I think they're going to make him very uncomfortable in the pocket. So they definitely have to. They definitely have their hands full with that one. And then I would say on the other side of the ball for the Seahawks. On the offense, I mean, they're just completely stacked. I mean, Cooper Kupp, they've got Cooper Kupp, they've got JSN, who honestly was showing out as well. So yeah, they just have a lot of weapons right now, and they can really just attack you from all angles, offense and defense. The Patriots, like I said again, I think this is their biggest test. A lot of people, there's been a lot of criticism with the Patriots. They've had an easy schedule, they haven't played anybody, so they have a lot to prove, I think, in this game. And just to not be exposed. If they allow the Seattle Seahawks to score first, I think in this game, they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble because they are up against that defense, as I said before, that I think is going to give them a lot of problems. So I'm giving the advantage to the Seahawks in this one, just solely off of that championship defense. I said it before when they beat the 49ers in the championship game. So yeah, for sure.
About 10 minutes ago, we ran over the history, the milestones and records that can be broken. And McDonald, top scoring defense back in 2023. Scott, top scoring defense in 2025. Top scoring, meaning they got the ball in a turnover, interception, fumble return, touchdowns, scored. Or they got the ball back and then the offense scored on turnovers. Top scoring defense in this league. The Patriots, the statistics are there. Third easiest schedule in 2025. Third easiest schedule. Some teams that have lost in the playoffs have faced heavier schedules, harder schedules than them. And some would say that the Patriots had the easier path to the Super Bowl. The Seahawks, on the other hand, have just been, offensively dominant, defensively dominant. If I was the New England Patriots and you win that coin toss, get the ball first and score quick. That's the one thing the Patriots need to do. Seattle Seahawks, they had trouble blocking tight ends this year. That was their weak point on the defense. If I was Drake May, Hunter Henry better become your best friend tonight. Better become your best friend tonight, and you better throw to him a bunch of times. Get the ball in his hands. Because the Seahawks are going to stop that run. The Seahawks are going to stop that pass. But you better get that ball out quick and get it to your tight end because that's their weak point on that defense. But the Patriots, every time they get the ball, they're going to have to score quick. They're going to have to get their defense on the field. The Patriots have a good defense. They do. I believe they had a top 15 defense this year, which not bad. So they may give Seattle a fight. I've been saying it the past 2 weeks. I think Seattle's going to go out and dominate this game. I think we're going to see another Super Bowl 48 performance to where they go out and just blow out New England. They blew out Denver back in Super Bowl 48. I think it's going to happen again. I know it's a different roster and everything like that. But when you look at this offense, you see the similarities to that Super Bowl 48 offense. You do. And you see the similarities to the Super Bowl 48 defense. So I mean, this is almost mirror image in a sense, and they might be slightly better, especially with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp there to back him up. You got a 1-2 punch run game. I mean, I believe either Zach, I think Zach Charbonnet is actually going to be out tonight. I think him or Kenneth Walker, one of the two, are going to be out tonight. So I say New England, go out. You need to score quick. Don't give Seattle's defense any chance to pick up the momentum, because if you do, that's game over. I still say I think Seattle goes out and blows things out tonight, and I hope I'm wrong for the sake of I want this game to be a good game. I don't want to be, not fully engaged before halftime, because back Super Bowl 48, I turned it off at halftime. I did. I was like, this game's not worth watching anymore. I'll turn it on when the Lombardi Trophy gets represented. That's it. So hopefully as a fan, hopefully this is a competitive game. But I feel like Seattle's going to go out and take care of business tonight. I do. I think Sam Darnold's raising that Lombardi Trophy. I think it's more favorable for his side. So that's it, man. Super Bowl 60 tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. You can watch on NBC and Peacock. And that's it for us, man. Final game to talk about in 2026. I will be back this week to recap the game. John will not be with me this week, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do it Monday afternoon. Maybe do the show tomorrow afternoon, just to recap right away and get everything in, talk about all the stuff, and go over to the X and check for that announcement, because we are scheduled to go live on Tuesday, but might do it tomorrow, maybe. But go over to the X at the Huddle Hub Pod, on TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod. Hit that follow button. On YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod, you're going to hit the subscribe button. That's how you follow us here on Twitch. All the links to all of our social medias are in the bio here on the Twitch channel if you are watching on Twitch, and you can click on whatever one you desire, because I know not everybody uses social media, every social media place. So the one you desire is there, and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast through Super Bowl 60 and beyond. Cam, great season, man.
Yeah.
If I had to ask you, I asked John this, and I don't believe I got to ask you this question here on air. But if you had to sum up the 2025 NFL season in your own thoughts as a fan, your opinions on the 2025 season, the floor is yours, man. What's your thoughts on how the 2025 NFL season was for you?
It was weird, honestly. I think we said that a lot during the course of the season. But no, man, like I said, it was a lot of stuff was unexpected from a lot of teams that I didn't see anything from. So that's always exciting to see. So it's I think was the element of unpredictability. I think this year was the main thing. So yeah, it's always good to see, and I guess that's why it's always good to see players leave teams and trades happen and things like that, because it just always mixes things up. So this league is unpredictable. You just don't know what to expect. I think season from season, I think it's going to be even worse next year. The unpredictability is just getting higher and higher. So you just don't know what to expect. From here on. So definitely an exciting season, though. I would say I probably watched more football this year than I watched probably in the last 2 years, honestly. And like I said, there's just, there were so many different matchups that I wanted to see, and so many different teams that were really, really, really good, that were just much watch football this year. So yeah, excellent season, I think, overall.
This was definitely a weird year. It was. I mean, if you were playing fantasy football, it was definitely a weird year, picking up players that you didn't think you would have on your rosters, players that did things that you didn't think were going to do what they did. Teams did things that you didn't expect them to do and have records, what they had. The Jaguars, I mean, the prediction for them was 4-13. They ended up winning their division. The Seahawks, same thing, like 5 or 6 wins. They win their division. They're in the Super Bowl tonight. Patriots, same thing. 4-13 was the prediction, and they're in the Super Bowl tonight. A lot of teams. I mean, there was 7 different division champions this year. The only team to repeat their division championship was the Philadelphia Eagles, winning the NFC East. All the other divisions had new division champions this year. So it was definitely a weird year. It was a weird year. Yeah. And I think you're right. When you go and look at the free agent pool for next year, what team, what players are on contract years and who could end up leaving what teams. The Dolphins and Cardinals seeking trade partners. Mac Jones wants to become a starter again. Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers want to bring him back for another year. You look at how this season was and think about what next year can be. It could probably get even weirder. And we're in the new 10-year era of Super Bowls because today's Super Bowl 60, next year's Super Bowl 61. So we're in the 60s now. So it's the turn of a new decade, and this could be exciting. It could be weird, and definitely, a lot of things to look forward to in the offseason when it comes to free agency. The draft is happening in Pittsburgh this year. Thinking about attending that because it's only a 6-hour drive, so I might attend it this year. And a lot of stuff in the works, and a lot of stuff in the works for us because we're not done. We're going to be going all off season. We got free agency to talk about. We got the draft to talk about. We got the UFL to talk about. Football does not stop, which means we don't stop here at the Huddle Up Podcast. So we're going to keep going. And like I said, go over to the X and follow there. I will announce whether I will be going live tomorrow or Tuesday. Okay, so go over to the X and stay tuned. Cam, your socials are on the bottom. Make sure to head over to Cam's social medias, hit that follow button right after we get off the air here today, especially Cam's Wrestling Corner, because Cam's Wrestling Corner, one of the best pro wrestling, you want to hear talk about pro wrestling, go check out Cam's Wrestling Corner. Great videos. I call it the best on the internet. I believe so. And I'm not just saying that because this man is digitally sitting next to me. The knowledge this man has for pro wrestling. I mean, I've been watching pro wrestling for 35 years. You would think if you go watch Cam's Wrestling Corner that you would think that Cam was watching pro wrestling as long as I have been. Cam, what do you got going on? What do you want to let the people know?
Yeah, just keep with me on Cam's Wrestling Corner. That's where I'm most active on. I'm really kind of focusing on reconstructing my Instagram too. I think I might start posting some wrestling content on there as well. So stay tuned for that as well. But definitely keep with me on Cam's Wrestling Corner. I post more on there about wrestling and things like that. So so keep with me on there. Of course, I'm active on here on the networks with me and Metalcore Mike right here on the Huddle Hub every single Sunday morning, and then of course on River City Radio every single Monday night after Monday Night Raw on the Table Spot, talking about some Monday Night Raw. Then of course one final time on River City Radio on every single Wednesday night with me, Metalcore Mike, in the addition of Phil Kahn on the Boom, talking about some AEW Dynamite. So stay tuned for all that. Lots of content coming out for you guys as well. And yeah, love and appreciate all you guys coming by and checking out the stream this morning.
So make sure you're keeping up with Cam. Go check out everything he is doing over on social media, here on the Huddle Up Podcast, and over on Rivet City Radio as well. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Metal Mike 714 is where you can find me. Again, I think I can just stop saying this now that I don't do things on my personal, because I do lives on TikTok once in a while, Fortnite streaming and stuff like that. It's been a while since I've done it. I got to start doing that again. Here on the Huddle Hub Podcast, I do my Superstar, Madden Superstar stream. I haven't done that in a while. I'll probably start doing that this week. I've been saying that for about 2 weeks too, but I really do think I'm going to start that up again this week. But yeah, like Cam said, here on the Huddle Hub Podcast, here every Sunday morning and every Tuesday night. Sunday morning is 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with John. And then over on Rivet City Radio for the Table Spot tomorrow night after Raw. Wednesday on the Boom after AEW Dynamite. With that being said, thank you everybody for checking out the show today. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. If your team is playing tonight, good luck. If not, just enjoy some football. We'll see you guys this week. Deuces.